for Georgia is Win Kopp. He is a walk-on from right here at Athens, Georgia. Not a great leg, but he has a real good ability of hanging it up there, and that was a nice job of dropping it inside the 15.
Georgia Tech back on offense, down by 7. Big hole right off the left side or the right side. That's Philip Rogers, his first carry of the afternoon, a junior from East Point, Georgia. You know, this is basically a running back by committee since the injury to Charles Wiley, Eddie, at the beginning of the season, tore his right ACL week 3 against North Carolina State. And it's amazing this team's come together. You got 3 backs with over 350 yards rushing.
And you throw Charlie Rogers into the mix, who moved out the flanker all year, has had to play a lot more tailback, but that injury to Wiley was big.
Dive play again. Rogers with a couple. Hollingshed sticking his helmet in the pile. Boy, Hollingshed 5-6 stops here just in the first quarter.
It's been a little active, hasn't it? Just a sophomore out of Fort Valley, Georgia. Had a huge game against South Carolina. He was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week that week. Well, you wonder why. He had 18 tackles, a sack, and an interception. He's starting to put together one of those days here.
Third down. And College 1. Hamilton from the shotgun. 3 wide receivers. Little pitch play goes out to Burns. Breaks a tackle, breaks another at the 40, 45, and stumbles up to the 48-yard line. First down, Georgia Tech. Richard Seymour chased him down from the defensive tackle spot.
Boy, as an offensive coordinator, Ralph Regent is spoiled to have a guy like Joe Hamilton. The Tech lines up in a shotgun formation, and they run an option. I mean, there's just so many different things you can do. Charlie Rogers, we mentioned, had been playing flanker. He's now lining up more as a tailback. Played tailback his first 3 years. Great in open space. And Friedgen said the reason we moved Rogers to flanker was he just kept getting little nicks and bruises, and I was tired of not having that kind of talent on the field.
Sheridan on the catch inside the 35, or the 40 that is, to the 39. Jeff Harris made the stop on Mike Sheridan. Right now, Georgia Tech, Eddie, just mixing pass and run and keeping Georgia's defense a little off balance.
And that's what you can do with Joe Hamilton. I said Ralph Friedgen, the offensive coordinator, is spoiled. I mean, he can run the option. He can run drop back. He can roll him out. He can run the ball like we showed in our virtual playbook. He can get a lead back and become a running back. There are so many things that he can do, and they may start running the option more, trying to keep pressure on this Georgia team.
Last 2 plays, a 28-yard run and then a 14-yard pass play. Hamilton on the keeper to the 35.
You know, we talked about how he has really come of age. Joe Hamilton, he was throwing a lot of interceptions early in his career, and now he really takes care of the football. When we spoke to him the other day, he said, you know, I've learned, pretty simple, a punt is much better than an interception. And those are the types of things that, you know, like I said, he's just a junior, and he's still making progress. He's really turned into a fine quarterback.
Now, he was recruited also by Penn State Clemson, but they wouldn't guarantee him that quarterback spot, and Tech says, yep, you're our man. The little pitch play goes on, he can't tell back is Charlie Rogers. And Rogers ripping up some good yards here in the first quarter inside the 30 down to the 28.
There's that assignment football. Charlie Rogers was the pitch man. Kirby Smart was coming up from that safety spot. But Georgia Tech able to get a blocker out in front of him. And Charlie Rogers has been very productive when he gets the football. When Friedgen, you know, he said, I didn't want to move him from tailback, but he just kept getting little nicks and bruises, and he had to sit out. I had to have him. He said, this guy's averaging almost 10 yards a carry for the season. I got to find more ways to get him the football.
Boy, nearly 12 yards, or over 12 yards a carry here in the early going. First and 10, Tech at the 27 of Georgia. Hamilton rolls out, fires, picked off. Jeff Harris, the right corner, with his 4th interception of the year, and that puts a stop to a nice drive by Georgia Tech.
And here's one of those things we said they can do with Joe Hamilton. Tech lines up in the wishbone, runs a little play action pass. They layer the field. Hamilton had 3 guys open, and he was going to his big play man in Des White, and he knew right away when he threw that ball. He threw it way too far outside, and Jeff Harris didn't have great coverage on Des White, but the bad pass, the ball lands right in his hands.
You see Harris, a junior out of Jacksonville, Florida. Kirby Smart with 5 picks on the season, leads the team. Harris now picks up his 4th. Georgia back on the offense. Quincy Carter, he can say, hey, Joe, I know you can run, so can I.
Yeah.
225-pounder, and he's a load coming at you.
Jeff Harris got injured a little bit on that interception. Let's hope he's all right. But Quincy Carter, you know, when we were out there watching him warm up, Craig, he's a big man. He signed with Georgia Tech back in February of '96 out of high school, was drafted in the 2nd round by the Chicago Cubs, will continue his baseball career. He said one of his goals in life was to play college football, found his way to Georgia, and wondered about the animosity Tech would have today.
2nd down, 6. That ball was a little short on the throw. The intended receiver, the big tight end, Larry Brown.
Believe that was knocked down again by Felipe Claybrooks. That would be his 2nd bat down. Tech starting to get a little bit in his way. You got to make the quarterback at least think you're coming in, but Claybrooks, a nice job again of getting his hands up. Not a big guy. He's pretty tall at 6'4", only about 248. They use him as kind of their pass rush specialist. Been very effective, has 9 sacks. Georgia Tech can really get after the quarterback. They were 1st in the ACC this year. They have 34 sacks on the season.
4 wide receivers, 3 set to the far side on 3rd down and 6. And this time Tech says no, Quincy Carter. Good read by Merrick's Watson, the defensive tackle. Well, they tried again to spread out Georgia Tech's D, and then with some lanes try to squeeze Quincy Carter up the field for the 1st down.
They're going to run. Excuse me. They're going to run a little stunt over here. Stimson's going to come inside, defensive tackle outside, and the offensive line just does not pick up the stunt. Stimson's untouched. So is the defensive tackle. When teams run draws, if you've called a stunt, that's when you win that battle. You call the right defense against that play.
Good look at Watson, only a freshman. Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Final seconds of the 1st quarter ticking down, and it was a big play 1st quarter. Georgia Tech and Georgia Bulldogs lead by 7. We'll return to Sanford Stadium right after this message and a word from your local station.
Dan Show, weekdays at 5 on CBS 46.
We start the 2nd quarter with only the face a mother could love. That is Uga, the legendary Uga 5.
He's wrapped up in that doghouse. That thing's air conditioned, believe it or not, for when it gets real muggy down on this field, but don't know if he'll need that today.
Only the best for Uga. Top with the kick and the left footer again. Good hang time. Charlie Rogers in traffic at the 45, breaks a tackle, 50, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. Charlie Rogers. But a flag is down. Back inside the 45, a 37-yard punt, 55-yard return, but hold on.
I think Charlie Rogers made a little mistake, Craig. I thought he called for the fair catch. Looked like he waved his arm, and then he took off with it. You cannot run, quite obviously, after a fair catch. And that's what the officials are huddling about. From up here, it looked like he had definitely waved his arm.
Now Ron Cherry, our referee, huddling with his crew.
The other thing they could have called, Craig, a Georgia cover guy was definitely within the 2-yard area allowed. They called one of the Georgia cover guys down too close. Let's see if he does wag that arm. Oh, yeah. Well, he kind of have to, but as soon as that hand gets above the shoulder pad, it is a fair catch. No question, Charlie Rogers got the hand up in the air.
We have 2 fouls on the play. We have a 5-yard non-contact kick-catch interference. That penalty will be administered 5 yards. We also have a fair catch signal on the play The ball was advanced after the fair catch signal. We have a dead ball delay. That penalty will also be administered. First down, Georgia Tech.
Well, he didn't want to talk first, but then he had a whole mouthful to say.
It was a good explanation by Mr. Cherry. Eddie, this football game is starting to look like a game of field position.
And Georgia Tech will win that game of field position because they have superior kickers. They have a much better punter in Charlie Rogers. And right now, even though there was a penalty, they still get great field position at their own 45-yard line.
Charlie Rogers still kind of showing, well, did I put the arm up or not?
And there's the other Uga showing how you give that fair catch signal.
Hamilton, play action, going deep, down the middle. Right on the button. Touchdown, Campbell. Kelly Campbell, a freshman, 8 receptions through 10 games, and it pulls down his first and 55-yard bomb.
Kelly Campbell, a true freshman out of Atlanta, Georgia, running nothing but a 9 route. Just a simple go down the field. He gets inside of Corey Robinson. Great speed by Kelly Campbell. In high school, he was second in the state in the 200-meter and 400-meter, so he's got great wheels.
Chambers will try the point after, kicks it up and through. So it's been a game of big plays. Brown scored for Georgia, and now Campbell, 7-all. It's 7-all in Athens, and yes, Georgia Tech fans, Eddie, have made the trip to watch the Yellow Jackets and the Bulldogs. 91st meeting between these two great teams.
Rodney Williams, the strong-legged punter, is also the kicker. Booms it deep. Oh, he made a mistake there, Craig.
Takes a bounce, took a left turn inside the 10 at the 8. Well, another big day of NFL action tomorrow on CBS. We start you up at 1 o'clock Eastern with Jacksonville and Cincinnati, or the Colts and the Ravens. The late game, Flutie taking on Bledsoe, Tennessee, and Seattle. And, of course, it all starts with the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. Nance, Bonnie Bernstein, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and the coach, George Seifert, will be there. That's tomorrow, high noon Eastern on CBS.
And that AFC East has taken over, really, for the NFC East this year. That is the best race to watch. All 3 teams knotted up at the top.
Georgia starts off at the 35-yard line, and coming right out throwing is Carter to Tony Small. Brian Wilkins, the free safety, brought him down. Tony Small, a senior from Jacksonville.
Talked about the kicking game and how that would really help if Georgia Tech could get into that. They're averaging 18 yards better on their own start when they get the football. The superior kicking game of Georgia Tech. Couple of big passing plays for each team is really the only offensive plays we've had. Otherwise, it's become a kicking battle.
3 wide receivers. Carter, play action over the middle, and incomplete. Greer, the intended receiver, stretched out, couldn't make the catch. Bostic providing some coverage on the near side.
Again, good protection for Quincy Carter, though. That was a long out route. It takes forever for that pass to develop. The offensive line holding up very well. Miles Lucky, who was the starting center all season, out today. The Georgia Bulldogs had to move Jonas Jennings into the center spot. He's really guarding. Reggie Stargell moves up the right guard. They're doing a nice job in the middle.
And Stinchcomb really was kind of a question mark up until Friday afternoon, but has that brace on to find left tackle. Gary, the ball carrier, past midfield to the 49, and Bostic put the shoulder pad on him. A good look at Quincy Carter.
Real good job by Jason Bostic coming up in that run support from his corner position. Got upfield, knocked the pins out from underneath Alandis Gary. See Georgia maybe deciding to start to settle down a little bit, run the ball some. Georgia Tech will take some chances, though, Craig. They play very aggressive, get up the field. Talked about in the open how they set an NCAA record with 7 fumble returns for touchdowns. The old record was 4. They've almost doubled it.
That's not beating it. That's rewriting the record books.
It's almost like 70 home runs.
Georgia 1 of 4 on 3rd down. Deep ball. Champ Bailey. Incomplete. Boy, he left his toes. and reached out Bostic on coverage. So Quincy Carter challenged Bostic one-on-one with Champ Bailey.
Bostic has drawn the duty of guarding Champ Bailey, and this time Bailey used that amazing speed. You know, not only is the guy a great football player, he's also a track star. He was second in the SEC in the triple jump this year. Just a great all-around athlete. And Quincy Carter, not been very sharp so far in this game, and that's one he will remember for 364 days, Craig. I mean, you got to remember, he signed with Georgia Tech, came here to Georgia, and these two teams, they hear about this game all year long.
Kopp will punt. Charlie Rogers inside his own 15. This one angles to the corner. Takes a bulldog bounce at the 9-yard line.
That'll help that field position.
40-yard boot. Got about 20 after it hit the turf. CBS Sports coverage of NASDAQ MX College Football will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Georgia Tech and Georgia all tied up with 7. And how do you look at those first half possessions by Georgia Tech?
When you have Rodney Williams, your punter, one of the best punters in the country, those punts aren't so bad, but they get the bad field position here.
Charlie Rogers brings it to the far side at the 30 and is pushed out by Kirby Smart. Well, Charlie Rogers has shown us a lot of speed. Had the 3 touchdowns last week in that big rout against Wake Forest.
One of them was on a punt return. 2 of them running the football. Tech lines up in the wishbone. Rogers just has that great speed. A good job on the corner by the Yellow Jackets, getting Rogers to the corner, and he shows that great speed down the field. Smart makes a TD saving tackle, if you can believe it, because if he gets by him, there's nobody else there.
First down, Georgia Tech. Hamilton nearly lost his footing, and then they cost him. Flags are down. And there's a sea of red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red jerseys who are right on Hamilton, led by Cochran.
Hamilton, the first time he's really had to run for his life today. Antonio Cochran came from his defensive end spot. And it goes from bad to worse. You know, in college football, those holding penalties are huge because they go from the spot of the
holding
foul.
Offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, replay first down.
That moves him back to the 20-yard line, and any time for our Aflac trivia question for the afternoon. Name the 5 Division 1A schools who do not use university in their official title. 5 Division I schools.
I got 2 or 3. You know, we didn't get to cheat like we normally do with that Aflac trivia question. We usually get it the night before.
Not today. Hamilton out of the backfield, hooks up. That's Joe Burns, and he took a shot from Jeff Harris. Burns very versatile. He can catch the football out of the backfield and has good wheels.
Jeff Harris had the wind knocked out of him a few plays ago, but now he puts the hit on. Oh, yeah. That's solid contact. Good to see Jeff Harris back into the game.
He just knocked the wind out of Burns. Good stick.
You got me once, I'll get you once.
Hamilton under center. He's 6 of 10. 5 different receivers. Hamilton again wants to throw under pressure and is taken down by the shirt sleeve. Oh, what presence by Antonio Cochran. Back-to-back stops. He's moving outside and inside against Georgia Tech.
Antonio Cochran working on the left tackle, who's Chris Brown. Gets under his pads and drives him right to the quarterback. Cochran came into the game with 2 sacks. He's doubled that, and we're only 11. We got 11 minutes left in the second quarter.
Cochran from Montezuma, Georgia, and the little Montezuma revenge right there on Joe Hamilton. Hamilton steps up, fires, on the slant inside, dropped. Charlie Rogers had some daylight and dropped the ball at the 44.
Yellow Jackets flooded the outside part of the zone, released Charlie Rogers late through the seam, and Charlie was wide open, would have easily got the first down. But sometimes, Craig, when you're in wide open spaces, that ball, boy, it looks like it takes forever to get there.
Rodney Williams back at his own 5-yard line. His first punt, 61 yards. Oh, high snap, brings it down. Still able to get the kick away. Greer watches the ball bounce, and it will come to rest at the 41. Boy, Williams able to save the high snap, a 39-yard kick. 7-all in Athens.
All knotted up in Athens, Georgia. Rodney Williams, the punter for Georgia Tech, has the all-time vertical jump at Georgia Tech with 42 inches. He needed all 42 that time. It's not very often that you see a punter that's that kind of athlete. Great catch by him.
Georgia back on offense. Not much for Gary. Bostic chased him down along the far side, and flags are down.
Randy Edsall, the defensive coordinator, came from the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he was the defensive back coach. He's really got those corners coming up nice and filling on the run.
Holding on the offense. 10 yards from the spot to foul. Replay first down.
Make sure you stick around. Coming up next, Big East title game. It's a good one. 19th ranked Miami taking on number 21 Syracuse. Scott Covington quarterbacking the Hurricanes against Donovan McNabb. AC, explosive offensive, you bet. Rushing, look at the numbers, 190, 219. Scoring, Syracuse 40+ a game.
Great balance by both squads.
Brown, the tight end, down to the 40. Near a first down. He'll be a yard shy, and Cameron, the linebacker, made the hit on the tight end.
Larry Brown had that long touchdown catch earlier in the game. The one thing Jim Donnan loves to do, remember he's also the offensive coordinator, is get the tight ends involved in the offense. Coming into the game, the tight ends for Georgia combined had 52 receptions. And he said the reason he likes to do that is all of these defenses in college football now, their safeties are so involved in the run game, my tight end keeps them out of it.
3 wide receivers on this. Oh, tough catch by Tony Small in traffic. You can see the 4 white jerseys of Georgia Tech. Tillman and Bostic were the first to knock down Small. But a nice throw by Quincy Carter.
Jim Donnan had nothing but compliments for Tony Small. You know, he sat on the bench for about 3 years behind guys like Hines Ward. Oh, could have got away with it. They got number 26, got away with a face mask. That's Travaris Tillman, the free safety. But Tony Small really has come on and done a great job his last year for Georgia. Jim Donnan said he was very patient, and now that he's in there, he's really getting the job done for us.
Thad Parker lines up near side, play action, all day to throw. Going deep, maybe too deep, and into the end zone, incomplete. Way out there was Champ Bailey, but that ball came out, you know, with a lot of steam.
There's no question this guy has a very strong arm, but he's going to have to settle himself. He said during the week he was almost, couldn't believe how calm he was. He was going to play Georgia Tech. He knew he had slighted them when he left back in February of '96. He signed. He left in August to go play baseball. He knew he slighted, and he said, I'm really surprised that I'm not more emotional about this. Well, Craig, it looks like he's very emotional. He's been throwing balls outside. He's been throwing them too high. He's not having a great day.
6 of 15 for 81 yards. Second down 10 from the Tech 47. Handoff, Gary. And first down at the 36.
Boy, there's that tough running, Craig. Olandis Gary in the last few ball games has really turned his play up a couple of notches. Yards after the hit. When guys hit you, how many more yards do you get? That is the sign of a tough running back. Little draw play right up the middle. Excellent job again. Jonas Jennings getting a nice block down the field, but watch the pile move. Olandis Gary has really, really turned up his game in the last half of this season.
The last 2 games, as I mentioned, 262 yards and 4 touchdowns. 5th-year senior out of Washington, D.C., one of the team captains for Georgia. Now the Bulldogs call timeout. Quincy Carter walks to the sideline. 7-7 here in Athens. We'll be back. .8:23 remaining before half. Georgia Tech, Georgia tied at 7. And now time for our answer to our AFLAC trivia question. We asked you, name the 5 Division 1A schools who do not use university in their official title. Army, Navy, Air Force, Boston College, and Georgia Tech. Bailey down to the 35. No gain. They'll bring up a second down and 10.
I thought you were going to go into a little ditty there. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. I thought you were headed there.
I was thinking the same thing.
Nate Stimson, the senior defensive end, 6.5 sacks. Transfer out of Miami. Came as a linebacker. They switched him to defensive end. He's done a great job getting after the passer. 6.5 sacks this year.
Orlando's carry taken down again by the shirt tail. That's a good stop by Chris Edwards, a linebacker, junior out of Wharton, Georgia.
And here's a guy, Chris Edwards, who had to play against a cousin last year in this game. Robert Edwards, who was a first-round draft pick of New England out of the University of Georgia. He's his first cousin.
How about that size at 6'5", 221? 3 wide receivers set on 3rd down 10. Carter's gone exclusively with the shotgun today. Good protection. It goes and it breaks. Fumble.
Boy, is Felipe Claybrooks having a big game or what? He's knocked down 2 balls. And now he gets around Chris Terry, the right tackle, and Quincy Carter never knew it was coming. This is when it gets very dangerous for a quarterback. On the outside, here comes Claybrooks, gets a big shot on Carter. Nice hustle by Claybrooks.
Only a sophomore, his 10th sack. I'd say the right defensive end spot has produced a lot this year. Jesse Tarplin with 9, now Claybrooks with his 10th. That's the 35th sack for Georgia Tech's defense. Fair catch taken inside the 10 at the 8-yard line. Well, Monday on CBS, catch the new hit show the critics are calling the best new comedy of the year. It's Ted Danson like you've never seen him in the all-new Becker. That's Monday right here on CBS.
Good job by the Georgia Tech defense. The Bulldogs were moving it right down the field, making it look easy. Georgia Tech stiffened up there, got the big sack by Claybrooks, having himself a heck of a game so far.
Georgia Tech, 1st and 10, ball on the 9-yard line. Hamilton with the handoff and good yardage on the 1st down carry. Philip Rogers, who's getting some good reps in place of Joe Burns, and Kirby Smart made the stop.
Philip Rogers can play fullback, he can play tailback. The first recruit of George O'Leary, and just a huge hole. Nice cut. His offensive line's doing a good job against that big front of Georgia, but a real nice cut by Philip Rogers. The offensive line doing its job.
Marcus Stroud playing the buck line position. Stop that play. Ross Bailey, also number 45, in on the stop.
Marcus Stroud, number 97, was playing defensive end most of the year. They moved him down inside so they could get Paul Snellings, the senior defensive tackle, out to play defensive end because of that option. At that time, Stroud stayed at home on the quarterback and did a nice job of wrapping him up.
A loss of 1, 2nd down 11. Sheridan, the motion man. Quick throw, incomplete to the far side. He was trying to hook up with Burns. And so that will bring up 3rd down and 11.
It's fun to watch this battle of wits between these coordinators. Joe Kynes, the defensive coordinator for Georgia, has been at it for a long time. He was a head coach at Arkansas, a defensive coordinator at Arkansas, Alabama, Florida. Spent some time in the NFL, but it's fun to watch him and Ralph Regent go at it. Really starting to match wits. That time, Joe Kynes came with a corner blitz, and Corey Robinson was able to bat the pass down.
Well, you brought it up. They both have the NFL experience, and they got a few more tricks up their sleeve. 3rd down 11. Hamilton shotgun, steps up, throws, hits the slant, connects Sheridan, and he is pulled down at the 31-yard line. It will be close to a first down. Glenn Ford chased him down from behind.
And when we talked earlier in the game about matchup, Ralph Friedgen, the offensive coordinator, said, my time in the NFL taught me how to get better matchups. This time he finds Mike Sheridan, and the free safety had to come up. Sheridan came across on a little drag route. A linebacker had to go out and cover Sheridan, and man just couldn't get there in time. But those are the types of matchups that Friedgen is looking for.
13-yard gain, first down, Georgia Tech. Hamilton lost the football. You see him crawl? He was on his knees.
When that football comes through, you got to do everything you can.
Marcus Stroud caused the fumble. He's been active. There is Stroud, number 97, 297-pound sophomore.
And Marcus Stroud had been starting all year. Kind of got a little demotion this week. They wanted to get more of a run-stopping type defense in there, and I don't think Stroud's happy about it. He's come out, he's playing gangbusters today. That's what you want, though. That's what you want out of a guy. He's a sophomore. He's still learning the game. Challenge him a little bit and see if he'll step up to it. Marcus has done that so far.
It's all about how you react to adversity. Second down, 13, a loss of 3. Hamilton in trouble, bounces off his offensive line.
Guess who?
Down he goes. Guess.
And guess who?
I think he's 97. Marcus Stroud.
Marcus Stroud, number 97, is just going to go right through the offensive guard from Georgia Tech. Goes into the center, knocks him into the lap of Joe Hamilton, but he doesn't quit on the play. That's great hustle. Joe Kynes, the defense coordinator, you got to be so happy with the guy. You demoted him. He's come back. He's playing a heck of a game.
Rogers, White, and Sheridan are the 3 wideouts for Georgia Tech. Looking now at third down, 12. That's Snellings, who had to hustle off the field for Georgia. Hamilton on the rollout. Stops and throws. Complete, but short of the first down at the 40-yard line. He found Sheridan. Corey Robinson made the stop.
Got to figure Ralph Friedgen, the offensive coordinator, got tired of seeing Joe Hamilton getting hit, so they decided to move the pocket some. Of course, with Hamilton's ability to run with the football, it's easy to do that, but Friedgen just got sick of seeing him getting knocked to the turf.
Short of the first down by a yard, so a 4th and short. And George O'Leary decides to punt.
And here's where Rodney Williams has to be careful with that strong leg. He's averaging 50 yards a kick. If he kicks another 60-yard, he'll go through the end zone.
Good high hanger, fair catch taken by Greer at the 11-yard line. Now a flag is down.
They're going to get Kofi Smith, the senior cornerback, down there covering. He was the wingman on the punt, but just got a little too close to Greer, who was receiving that punt. Got inside that 2-yard frame that the receivers allowed.
And here's Ron Cherry.
With kick catch interference on the play, 5 yards non-contact, 5 yards and first down.
In the NFL, you just have to give them space. In college, you have to give them a certain yardage. No question that Kofi Smith got inside that 2 yards.
47-yard kick. Well, next week, one of the great rivalries in this country, NASDAQ Amex College Football. It's Army, Navy. Mark it down next Saturday at noon Eastern, and that's going to be followed by the premiere of the Road to the Final Four NCAA action. Number 7, Michigan State taking on number 2, Connecticut, or you'll see Miami and the 4th-ranked Wildcats of Kentucky.
And Kentucky lost to Pittsburgh the other day, and you'll see that up close. You're calling that game, aren't you, Craig?
Clark Kellogg and I will be down there in Lexington. Gary stopped at the 16-yard line. Caldwell got a helmet on him.
This has really become a game of field position, and Georgia Tech has been pinned back. They get a little bit of offense, start moving it down, and they let unleash Rodney Williams, the punter, to boom one down there. Had a great kick to get Georgia pinned way down in their own territory.
Under 2.5 minutes remaining in this first half, and it's been a half of big plays. 7 all in Athens. Champ Bailey, far sideline, And that will stop the clock. Edwards made the stop with some help from Bostic. Actually, the clock will continue to run. Bailey did not get out of bounds, but close to a first down.
When we talked to defensive coordinator Randy Edsall of Georgia Tech, he said, you know, the thing that scares me about Champ Bailey is not him really running by my guys. It's how many different ways that Georgia gets him the football. They run screens, they run reverses, they'll line him up in the backfield. That time, they ran both receivers outside of Bailey up the field, and they just ran a little flat route trying to get him in open field.
Georgia 1 for 6 today on third down conversions. Double tight set. Gary trying to run out of traffic, and don't think he got it. Depends on the spot. At the 25, Edwards again, who's been busy, made the tackle.
But we talked about Alandis Gary, how he's turned up his game in the last half of the season. Gary is dead to rights in the backfield. Run a little sweep. Oh, the right tackle, Chris Terry, got away with a little flinch there. But Gary runs out of the arm tackle of Delonte Cameron, gets upfield, and fights for that extra yardage. But again, it's good to see a guy really turn it up.
Well, a timeout called by Georgia Tech. 1:15 to go in the half. Georgia Tech and Georgia all tied up at 7. Sold out Sanford Stadium, 86,000 strong. And coming up on the College Football Today, AXA and Equitable halftime report. Make sure you stick around. Tim Brando, Craig James, and the coach Lou Holtz will be around to have all the scores and highlights from today's action, plus a preview of today's showdown for the Big East title between Miami and Syracuse. That's all coming up at the half.
Jim Donnan was toying with the idea of going with it on 4th down. George O'Leary called the timeout. Donnan decided not to.
High snap. Kopp. Rogers inside the 40. Up the middle he goes, and an ankle tackle at the 47-yard line. Nice tackle by Ross Mitchell. 39-yard punt. 11-yard return.
Take a look at how the SEC lines up in the bowls. Florida Citrus already has Georgia Tech locked down. They'll look for the SEC. It's actually the number 2. The Cotton Bowl figures in here. If Florida Citrus doesn't decide to take an SEC team and the Outback doesn't, then the Cotton Bowl can take the SEC number 2. But some very big bowls on the line here today for Georgia.
Georgia Tech with the football and 1:04 left on the first half clock. Hamilton dodges trouble, tucks and runs to the 40, down to the 36-yard line. Elusive and has great vision. Joe Hamilton. Jeff Harris, the right corner, made the tackle.
Joe Hamilton, you know, talk about athletes. He was the two-time All-State in basketball in South Carolina.
No huddle offense. Tech out of the backfield. Burns taken down at the 35-yard line. Good tackle by Corey Robinson. Hit him at the knees. A timeout. Tech will be back. Well, good old Santa Claus has made his way to Athens, taking the day off.
You know, he's getting cranked up and ready, but there's still time. I wonder if he's been a good boy. I guess for a Georgia fan, he'd be considered a good boy with all that paint on.
And talk about the offense, because explosive is the word for Georgia Tech. 11th ranked in the country in scoring at 37 points a game. They move the football, can't find the end zone that much except for the big play.
And they're playing against a team, Georgia, that gets very, very stout the closer you get to the end zone.
40 seconds remain. And a fumble on the exchange. Georgia will have it at the 35.
Well, a play can't start unless you get a handle on the football. Craig Page, the senior center. Snap looked like it was there. Joe Hamilton looked like he was leaning back, wanted to get back away from the center to get back for his pass. Craig Page, he's a senior, very good offensive lineman, but that time it looked like Hamilton maybe just got pulled back away a little soon. And Jim Donnan, you know, this was one of the keys Jim Donnan told us. He said with the good kicking game of Georgia Tech, we've got to get some turnovers. They've gotten 2 already.
35 seconds for Quincy Carter over the middle. Grab! Tony Small! Oh, you can't Tavares Tillman was the cover man, but you can't cover a catch like that.
Stimson gets a good shot on Carter right as he throws the ball, but look at the grab by Small. You know, it's kind of like he's making a statement. Hey, look, I know Champ Bailey's the guy, and you're going to talk about him a lot, but I'm going to make enough plays to make you talk about me.
Flag down. That stops the clock with 20 seconds before halftime.
Georgia has left itself 2 timeouts, so they're in very good position.
That was a 27-yard catch as we listen in on Ron Cherry.
Dead ball, crossing snap, false start on the offense. A 5-yard penalty.
Can't start moving yourself backwards, because every yard's going to count when you start getting a little closer. You're down to 20, even though you have 2 timeouts. You're down to 20. You got to start thinking about some out routes. You've got to get into field goal position.
So 1st and 15. Officials will have a discussion.
Georgia has left Larry Brown, their tight end, into the game, one of their best receivers. Won't be surprised if he lines up in the slot.
Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 22 seconds. 22 seconds.
You know, 2 seconds, Craig, can really make a big difference when you're probably going to end up going for a field goal. What it does is it may allow you one more play to take a shot into the end zone before you decide to kick it.
Hey, Ron Cherry did a nice job just controlling this football game.
Well, he's given us great explanations, at least.
Carter, deep ball. Champ Bailey, little push, up he goes. Who's got it? Incomplete. Boy, Jason Bostic and Champ Bailey have had a great battle in this first half.
You know, you may remember Jason Bostic. Remember the game last year against Notre Dame, Georgia Tech? He had one of those interceptions, a lifetime, bobbled it, fell around, finally came up with it on the ground, and here he almost comes up with the same. Bailey goes over the back, does a nice job of knocking it away, and they're starting to get some heat on Carter, falling away as he threw that. Clay Brooks takes him to the ground. But again, Jason Bostic has done a fine job covering Champ Bailey so far today.
11 seconds remain, second quarter, second down, 15. Swings in under the backfield. That's Gary down the sideline and smartly takes the step out of bounds at the 17 with 3 seconds remaining.
And there's those 2 seconds that the officials put back on the clock. Although Hap Hines and Jim Donnan, Hap's probably over there, the kicker for Georgia, saying, hey, Coach, I don't think we're going to be able to take a shot. Throw me out there and let me try to kick one.
A remarkable drive, taking advantage of the fumble by Georgia Tech. And now Hap Hines will try a 35-yard field goal. Kirby Smart, the holder. 3 seconds remain. Snap is down. The kick is up and good. Hap Hines from 35. And that ends a big play first half here in Athens, Georgia. George O'Leary and Jim Donnan battling. Let's take you downstairs. Mike Harris.
Coach, based on the way the first half was played, what do you tell your guys going in?
Well, we just got to stop making so many mistakes on offense. You know, we're sort of shooting ourselves in the foot there. And, you know, defensively, we're playing good ball. We just got to continue to do that. But offensively, we're just letting too many good opportunities go by.
All right, Coach, good luck second half. Craig, back to you.
All right, thank you, Mike. That ends the first half here in Athens. Georgia leads Georgia Tech 10-7. Let's take you back now to our New York studios and Tim Brando. Tim.
Craig, thank you. We're hunkered down here at the Broadcast Center. Coming up on the College Football Today Action Equitable Halftime Report, Craig Lou and I will get you caught up on all of today's action, plus a preview of our second game. The matchup between Miami and Syracuse. They battle it out for the Big East title. All of that coming up next.
And Georgia leads Georgia Tech by 3. Just moments ago, our Mike Harris stopped and talked to Georgia head coach Jim Donnan.
Coach, in what areas do you need to improve to win this football game?
Well, we've got to get a little more consistent with a running game, and then defensively, we got to stop them, play the option a little better. But that's a great 3 points we got there at the end of the half. That's a big play for us, getting a fumble. But you know, as I told our team, you know, it's your arch rival, but this game should be more fun. We got to relax and have some fun out here and just play a little more relaxed, and we're going to do that.
All right, Georgia starts the second half with a 3-point lead. Holman has it teed up at the 35-yard line. Takes a bounce inside the 15. Des White, explosive, dances past the 25 up to the 30. So Georgia Tech will have fine field position to start this third quarter. Craig Bolerjack back along with Ed Cunningham. First half, Eddie, was a game of field position, a game of big plays. How do you see the third and fourth quarters?
Well, I love what Jim Donnan just said. Relax, have some fun. Both these teams seem kind of tight. He told us yesterday that he thought Georgia Tech would be tight, but we've seen the Bulldogs be pretty tight. And I like the way he said that. Hey, enjoy yourselves. This is a big college game. That's what it's all about.
After the fumble to end the second quarter, Georgia Tech went in to kick the field goal and own a 3-point lead. Tech now on the offense. Burns bangs his way up for a 2-yard game. And our Xerox halftime numbers. Did Eddie look at the score? Close, 10-7. Total yards very even. Georgia by 10 in that category. But it's the turnover that cost the lead for Tech.
Yeah, the last turnover there got the 3 points for Georgia. But total yards, you'd think the game would be 21-17 at the half. But both these defenses very good. Once you get inside the 20, they're going to shut you down.
3 wide receiver set. Second down, 7. Hamilton forced to tuck and run, reaches out to the 41-yard line, chased down by Orantis Grant.
Take a look at what the quarterbacks did in the first half. Both of them struggled a bit. Hamilton had that one interception and just kind of threw the ball outside, had a couple of bad throws, and Carter was really shaky. So both of these guys, they need to take the advice of Jim Donnan. Settle down, have fun. It's a football game.
Little power eye on third down 1 from the 40. Third back through was Philip Rogers. It will be close.
Joe Kynes, the defensive coordinator from the University of Georgia, is getting great football from a couple of players, and one of them is Adrian Hollingshed. The middle linebacker does a great job. Nobody blocks him. He meets the running back in the backfield. Hollingshed, earlier in the game, he was kind of the spy on Joe Hamilton, made a couple of nice stops, but there he gets his pads up underneath number 37, Philip Rogers, drives him back into the backfield.
The chains are out. They stretch him and by a nose.
That was a good spot, Craig. That was an excellent spot, and the 86,000 Georgia faithful agree. It looked to me like Hollingshed had Philip Rogers stopped short of that first down.
So first down, Georgia Tech at the 41.
Of course, if you're Ralph Region, it doesn't matter how you get there. Just get there. Show up to the dance in a beat up Chevy Nova. It's the same as showing up in a limo.
Double tight set for the Yellow Jackets. Play action. Hamilton sets, fires, throws deep in traffic. Over the 3-ball. Larry Mann, the free safety, said thank you. Down the sideline, 25 to the 30. Mann with his third pick. And Hamilton throwing his 7th interception, and that ball just, I don't know what happened. Larry Mann with the interception. Georgia will have the football when we come back.
Georgia up 3, looking to add to that lead after the interception throw by Joe Hamilton. He just threw it up for grabs, and Larry Mann, the free safety, playing that center field, makes a play on it. And watch the block by number 50, Dustin Lucky. Popping guys right in the mouth. You know, when you catch the ball on defense, you now become offense, and those other guys are looking. They're headhunters after that.
Mann with his 3rd interception. On the ground as Orlandis Gary steps out. First down, pickup of 11 to the 41-yard line. Chased out by Justin Robertson. And Eddie, we look at the first half possessions. First drive, big play, 80 yards for the touchdown. The next 6.
Then the rain came. It started pouring here. The field got muddy.
6 punts.
Georgia couldn't go anywhere.
And then they turned the turnover, the fumble, into 3 points, and that's where it stands 10-7.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's defense played very well in that first half. They had a trick play. Michael Greer threw a 68-yard touchdown pass to the tight end Larry Brown. And other than that, Georgia Tech played very well in the first half.
From the eye, pitch. Gary has blockers, cuts it in, 50, 40, still on his feet to the 31-yard line. Power running, Orlandis Gary. Bostic and Cameron save the touchdown.
And give Olandis Gary all the credit in the world. We talked about how he's turned his game up, but you got to give him the edge. And right there, Larry Brown comes out, number 25. The fullback, Ronnie Bradley, does a great job downfield. You got to give credit to the running back, but don't forget those boys working hard for him. What a great run. And Jim Donnan told us they would have to come out and really run the ball in the second half. And Olandis Gary has really used the force in the last 2 ball games we've been talking about.
Ronnie Bradley.
Justin Robertson made the stop on Bradley as Gary gets a rest in the first half. Eddie, Gary had 8 carries, 28 yards. This quarter, 2 carries for 29.
Georgia Tech was dealt a blow this week in practice. Their middle linebacker, Matt Miller, went down with a torn ACL Tuesday. Justin Robertson moves into his spot in the middle. You can see he's got that armband on. He's looking to read. Matt Miller was the signal caller for Georgia Tech, and now Justin Robertson has to take over that spot.
From the shotgun, low pass, dug in the return.
Well, you get a chance to see why Jim Donnan loves the tight end. Jermaine Wiggins, like Olandis Gary, was one of 2 players that transferred from Marshall when Jim Donnan left there to take the job here. And Jermaine Wiggins makes a shoestring catch, his 23rd reception of the year. Got great hands for a big man at 260 pounds, almost, out of East Boston, Massachusetts. But he was one of the 2 guys that said, hey, coach, can we come with you? And I'm pretty sure Donnan was, yeah, why don't you guys back up and come on along?
Go ahead. From the eye, Gary back in, right up the seam. Untouched and then stacked up with the 7. You know, Jim Donnan did come to Georgia with impressive numbers. 6 years at Marshall, led the Thundering Herd to that Division I AA national title back in '92.
And when he got the job here at Georgia, a lot of the local folks are, you're taking a guy from 1 AA and putting him in here at Georgia with this great tradition. He went 5-6 his first year, took some heat, and then last year they just exploded. Georgia went 10-2. They beat Florida in a huge game. They go to the Outback Bowl. They beat a good Wisconsin team. He's really done a fine job.
And now you have a 21-year-old freshman running the show. Gary, stop to the backfield, second effort, up to the 5. Power. Jesse Tarplin finally brought him down with some help from Justin Robertson.
Well, you cannot say enough about Olandis Gary and the way he has played in the last 2 or 3 ball games. He was dead to rights in the backfield. Nate Stimson got inside on a little stunt again. The defensive lineman got in there, had him wrapped up. This guy's just running real hard.
75 yards early here in the 3rd quarter. Donnan against O'Leary. Georgia leads by 3, threatening here. 3rd down 2. Now a timeout by Quincy Carter.
Yeah, you get down in this area, you don't want to mess up and have a bad play or the wrong personnel in. Go ahead and get your timeout and get everything settled. Quincy Carter, he didn't show up to campus until they started 2-8. And Jim Donnan, he said, I kind of had an idea of what I was getting, but I didn't know how fast he would grasp the offense. And in the 3 weeks before their opening game against Kent, he almost mastered the offense. What he has gotten much better at as time has progressed. He said, in that first game against Kent, I looked at my primary receiver and I burned a hole through him with my eyes. But now I can see the whole field. He's got a real good grasp of what Jim Donnan is trying to do. We talked about how he likes to spread that ball around.
And how many coaches would actually come out and say that he's got a freshman quarterback who could probably step in and play in the National Football League right now. And Eddie, let me ask you, because, okay, he's a freshman, that can be a label, but yet he's 21 years of age and has pro experience with the Chicago Cubs in baseball. Very mature young man.
And if you've ever talked to anybody who played minor league baseball, there's no education like spending 2 years on a bus, traveling from Fort Wayne, Indiana to Grand Rapids, Michigan. He's been all over the place. He told us, I didn't play in front of 80,000 people in an entire season of minor league baseball. Now he does it every Saturday afternoon here at Georgia.
7th play of this drive coming up. 9:48 remaining, 3rd quarter. And Georgia with a 3-point lead. It's been a game of big plays. Brown scored on a flanker pass from Greer to make it 7-0 Tech. And then Campbell went 55 yards and tied at 7. And then Hines at the 35-yarder after the Tech fumble, and that's where we stand. Georgia leads by 3.
Jim Donnan very obviously decided he wanted to get that running game going here. Knew his quarterback, Quincy Carter. You know, sometimes you get a little wrapped up in how good a guy is, and if he's having an off game, you got to pull back and say, okay, what else can we do? Well, Orlando Scary's been running so well for him. Let's go to him, and he's carrying the load right now.
3 wide receivers. They split Larry Brown. Now Brown, the motion man, from the shotgun. Carter turns the corner and bumped out of bounds at the 6 by Jamara Clark. That stops the clock with 9:41 left.
They go with a designed quarterback running play. Try to spread you out with all the receivers out there. Leave one back in the backfield as the blocker for Carter. Not able to get much. And Nate Stimson, again, number 56, defensive lineman for Georgia Tech, has done a great job getting pressure and getting up and disrupting some plays. He hasn't made a lot of tackles for George O'Leary, but he's done a nice job. That time, he made Quincy Carter bounce it outside to all his mates waiting for him.
Hap Hines will try a 24-yarder, hit a 35-yard field goal just before half, and it's up and good. So Georgia ups their lead to 13-7.
NASDAQ Amex College Football on CBS is sponsored by Suzuki, Bud Light, 3Com US Robotics, and by Aflac.
$86,000 and then some, mostly clad in Bulldog red, and Yellow Jacket fans are here. Holman will kick away to Des White and Sean Gregory. 13-7 Georgia.
He has kicked too many balls to Des White. Des White had a 95-yard touchdown return last year against Duke. This year, already a 100-yard kickoff return. You're playing with fire if you keep kicking it to him.
Hangs up. Gregory at the 1. Gregory trying to squeeze through on the far side up to the 27. We'll get caught up around the league tomorrow on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines, with Jim Nance, George Seifert, Brent Jones, Marcus Allen, and Bonnie Bernstein. And keep watching for the NASDAQ Amex halftime report as our guys keep you on top of the action during yet another busy Sunday around the National Football League.
Great opening drive for the Bulldogs. I'm sure she's very happy with what her team did. Went 8 plays, 7 of them rushing, 1 pass. Orlando Scary had 47 yards on that drive.
26-yard return by Gregory. Little option pitch up and over. Charlie Rogers, nifty running. They get up to the 35-yard line, a pickup of 5.
Even though Georgia has had the momentum for a while now in this game, at the end of the half and all the beginning of the third quarter, you don't really have to panic. I mean, you're only down 6 if you're Georgia Tech. Continue to do the things that you've been doing. Joe Hamilton, the option worked to a T during the first half. They used it a lot, and that time they pick up another 6 on that play.
Tech's biggest concern is just to run away from Hollingshed of Georgia. The middle backers had a fine afternoon. Second down 4. The pitch. Joe Burns is just flipped on his back by the champ. Champ Bailey, the two-way man for Georgia.
And that's how you defend the option. It's assignment football. Somebody has to get in the face of the quarterback. Grant does that. He pitches it. Now you have to have support from your cornerback. Des White is trying to block one-on-one with Champ Bailey. Too quick. Got inside of him. Des White tries to get back downfield, but Champ Bailey just too quick, got underneath. A good job supporting the run.
You know, Champ Bailey, of course, you could walk around campus to throw the chest down, but he's very humble about his two-way success on this Georgia football team. Shotgun pitch. Lost his footing was Charlie Rogers. Had some room to run, but he lost it at the 30. And stumbles up to the 33-yard line, so the Yellow Jackets will have to punt.
Joe Kynes has called an incredible game for Georgia, the defensive coordinator. That time he brings Glenn Ford. Sometimes it's luck, Greg, but that time he got Glenn Ford, the cornerback, coming in on a corner blitz right into the face of the option and killed it right at the spot.
This will be the 4th punt for Williams. He's averaging nearly 50 yards a kick. Barely got that one away. Kicked it out of bounds. It will depend on the spot. Still walking up to the 35. That's what Georgia will take over, leading by 6.
The Heisman Watch, sponsored by Suzuki.
Tim Brando and Craig James here in New York. A look at the latest in the Heisman Trophy race. 4th in the nation in total offense and a top candidate for the Heisman, Tim Couch.
There's respect to Kentucky again. It's because of Tim Couch. This guy comes back and plays, and he's rocking the SEC. 36 touchdown passes, nearly 400 yards a game. Hey, Tim Couch, go back for your senior year and win the Heisman Trophy. You'll have it on the mantle forever.
You're saying he makes the trip to the Downtown Athletic Club this year. He takes home the trophy next year. For information on the Heisman, watch and log on to cbs.sportsline.com.
It's worth more than money.
7:54 left in the 3rd quarter. Jim Donnan pacing the sidelines here. Sanford Stadium sold out, 86,000.
With this sellout, the University of Georgia sets a new attendance record, breaking the record they set back in 1995.
Double tight end. They both shift to the near side. Now Wiggins in motion. Handoff Gary. Continues to fight a couple of yards to the 37. And it's interesting. Georgia Tech comes into this football game knowing they have a Gator Bowl date on New Year's Day. And Georgia, with that 8-2 record, now if you lose 8-3, looks pretty good for bowl committee members, but yet still there is a lot of questions at hand.
Oh, and I think if you're Georgia, I think you have more to lose. Georgia Tech, even though they told us all week, hey, we had 3 goals. Win the ACC title, they shared that. Get a January 1 bowl, they've got that, and beat Georgia. But they've still got a real good season wrapped up. For Georgia, though, they don't know where they're going. So to me, this game is much more important for the Bulldogs.
Official timeout called by Ron Cherry.
We've got a whistle in the stands, please. Refrain from blowing the whistle in the stands, please.
Craig, I told you to put the whistle away at halftime. You were going to get in trouble.
It's in my pocket.
All right, keep it there.
I mean, it's amazing.
And here come the whistles. Listen. Yeah, everyone who can whistle decided, hey, it's time to listen to that. It's like you're at a tennis match in England where they start whistling instead of
Wimbledon.
booing.
Yeah, Wimbledon, U.S. Open. We'll whistle a few times. Sometimes you may just be better off not to mention it. 2nd down 7 from the 38. Carter on the rollout. Complete. Tony Small. Tony Small has just been the quiet hero in this game. Some big catches covered by Jerry Caldwell, the strong safety.
Well, you get Olandis Gary on the play fake. You get everybody running to that side of the field. Tony Small just runs off the defender. Number 27, Jerry Caldwell, does a good job on his break, and he's wide open. You know, Jim Donnan's going to start moving that pocket some more. Those passing yards, although they're a ton, remember the 68 yards, Michael Greer to Larry Brown early in the game, but starting to move the pocket a little bit for Quincy Carter.
And Georgia averaging 245 yards a game passing, and they're nearly at that here in the 3rd quarter. Carter taken down by the sleeve by Chris Edwards. Tonight on CBS is the Country Music Association's 40th anniversary celebration. Superstars and all-time legends join together for some duets you won't see anywhere else. That followed by Walker, Texas Ranger. It's all right here tonight on CBS.
That time, Donnan decides to roll Carter out again, but it's one of those design quarterback runs. He had Olandis Gary blocking for him, but Georgia Tech's defense, the strength of its defense is its defensive ends and outside backers. They're just getting up the field and blowing that play up.
Double tight end set. The lone back is Gary. Carter throws. One-hand catch.
Oh, they said he bobbled it.
Oh, incomplete. That was one for the highlight reel, though. Out of bounds. Good coverage by Bostic, but how about the concentration by Jermaine Wiggins?
Yeah, Jermaine Wiggins has a lot to play for today. He stopped by yesterday after practice and said, hey guys, are my parents in Boston going to be able to see this game? And he's put on a little show for us so far today. See if he got his feet down when he was bobbling it. Good call by the official. That ball was not quite grasped by Wiggins as he went out of bounds, but he had a great catch earlier and almost came up with another one for those folks back home.
Yeah, mom and dad came out of their seats. Quincy Carter shotgun. 3rd down, 13. Carter over the middle, wide open. Tony Small. 1st down, Georgia at the 41. And again, Small continues to take away some of the attention to Champ Bailey that we gave during the course of this game. But boy, Tony Small coming up with his 6th reception now, Eddie, for 91 yards.
And his heart took a little extra beat there because he had to catch the ball twice. The ball thrown just a tad behind on the hip of Tony Small. Difficult to get his hands down, but a great job of concentration once he started batting that thing around, able to bring it in for a big 1st down for Georgia.
1st down, Bulldogs at the 41 at Georgia Tech. They lead 13-7. Under 6 minutes remain in the 3rd quarter. Pitch out. That's Ronnie Bradley. Could not turn the corner. Good downline pursuit by the Yellow Jackets. And guess who? It was Felipe Claybrooks.
We have seen some great play by number 97 today. And I don't just mean Felipe Claybrooks. Marcus Stroud, number 97 for Georgia's had a great game. And Claybrooks has been everywhere. He's got a sack on the day, knocked a couple of passes down, and now he shows great ability to run sideline to sideline. Not a huge guy at 248 for defensive end, but very quick and can run.
And he can play either side, right or left. For Randy Edsall, the defensive coordinator for Georgia Tech, as you look into the eyes of Carter. 2nd down, 10 from the 39. Carter again, the easy start underneath Larry Brown. Brown rumbling. I tell you, you can hear the turf is just tearing up at the 10. He was marked out of bounds at the 14, and Jamara Clark bumped him out.
This play started on the offensive line. Georgia Tech comes on an all-out blitz. Coming up the middle, they bring 3 guys, and Carter has time to find his tight end, Larry Brown. Travaris Tillman, the free safety, had to come over, get in man-to-man coverage on Brown because of the blitz. And Brown, a big physical guy at 6'5", 270 pounds, gets down the field. But again, a great job by the offensive line.
Tight end comparisons. Georgia Tech has a fine one in Conrad Andrzejewski. No catches today, but Larry Brown eating it up with 3 receptions, 106 yards, and that includes that big touchdown.
But that's how you beat a team that's deciding to blitz. If you could give your quarterback just a little second. Everybody's manned up outside. Larry Brown, he's got a size advantage on Tillman, the free safety, and he gets open for a big game.
Pitch play, Gary squeezes through, locks the side, stops, still on his feet, touchdown, Georgia.
Oh, they're saying he was out of bounds, Craig, at the 8-yard line. You know, you almost just want to give it to him, Craig, even if he was out of bounds. This type of effort late in his senior season, Olandis Gary has really he got a toe. You know, if he'd had his pinky toe, if he didn't have a pinky toe, Craig, he would have been in bounds. The official on the spot, a good call, no question, the left foot. But look at the stop on the dime. 3 Georgia Tech guys fly by. You almost just want to give him the touchdown because of the effort.
Boy, Jerry Caldwell put a stick on him. You have to take the touchdown off the scoreboard for now. Still 13-7. Back to the ground, and turning those legs is Olandis Gary. Justin Robertson met him and dropped him down, but again, you think this guy may be 230, but
he's
actually
not.
He's 5'11", 210, 215, but runs with so much strength, straight ahead running north-south.
And I tell you what he's doing, Craig. His physical running up the middle is starting to beat up this Georgia Tech defense. The Yellow Jackets are slow to get up off the field after every play. They're getting winded, and if you can start wearing them down, Olandis Gary's just going to keep looking stronger and stronger as the game rolls on.
Gary with 15 carries, 89 yards, 10th play of this drive from the eye. It's Gary on the right side, and this time Georgia Tech closes down the hole and no gain at the 4-yard line.
But I can't, it doesn't matter how tired this Tech defense gets. I will guarantee you one thing. There is no quit in this Georgia Tech defense. Randy Edsall, the defensive coordinator, knew this year, his first year at Georgia Tech, has really got them playing with a lot of excitement and enthusiasm. He said, guys, when we're on defense, let's play like the offense. Let's attack and try to score every time we're out there.
Second down, 3. On the rollout, Carter through the hands of his tight end, Wiggins. Third down goal from the 3 coming up.
Again, a little play action. Gary's been running so well. Might as well get moving around. Wiggins is open. Carter he wings that ball in there a little hard, but there was a penalty.
On the defense.
Tony Small was right in the middle of the end zone and got tackled as that ball was in the air. That's what the call was. But Carter got excited. He saw big old Wiggins wide open. He fired that ball. He threw a fastball to him, Craig, and got to take a little something off that when somebody's that wide open.
Yeah, you got the nose up.
It started floating on him, didn't it?
Well, that's now 1st and goal inside the 2-yard line. Gary, and over. Georgia, touchdown.
You know, Craig, if he had number 34 on, remember old Herschel Walker, he always used to go airborne for his touchdowns. You get inside the 2 and Walker would go airborne, and here Gary shows great leaping ability. Get that ball out in front of you for the touchdown, and Georgia is going to go for 2 to get up 14. Good call by Jim Donnan.
He went up and over 55 at Georgia Tech. Delonte Cameron, the outside linebacker, so a 2-point try. 4 wide receivers set, and Gary stays in at the lone back. Now Tech will call a timeout.
You know, Craig, when you're the offensive coach, you have to know when you have to go for 2. You're up by 12, you got to go for 2. The defensive side of the ball, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets have to know after this beautiful dive over the top by Olandis Gary that the other team's probably going to go for 2. You got to be ready for it. Look at the extension Gary got. Kind of jumps on the back of those big offensive linemen and flies right into the end zone. But Georgia Tech has to burn a timeout because they were not prepared for Georgia going for 2.
You couldn't write a better book on just the last 3 weeks for that young man, Olandis Gary, nearing now 400 yards in his last 3 ball games with now a total of 5 touchdowns.
Early in the year, Georgia, kind of like Georgia Tech, played a bunch of different running backs, but Olandis Gary in the last half of the season has really played himself into the go-to guy in the running game for Jim Donnan. Olandis Gary was a transfer from Marshall, came with Jim Donnan. You know, Jim Donnan, the one thing that I've noticed in the few years I've watched him at Georgia, there are 5 sets of brothers that play here at Georgia. And the older brothers go back to the younger brothers and say, this is a great guy to play for. The players love to play for Jim Donnan.
And you mentioned the brother set. There's actually a set of triplets that play here at Georgia. Miles Lucky, who's injured as the starting center. You also have Dustin Lucky, who's an outside linebacker, and Mike Lucky,
middle linebacker. Mom and Dad saving some scratch on three tuitions.
Georgia going for 2. Carter tucks and runs. No signal yet.
Oh, it looked like he pushed it in there, Craig.
No, says Ron Cherry. And that brings an applause from O'Leary. 19-7, Georgia. Georgia with the 19-7 lead. Gary with the big day, but yet Georgia could not get in for the 2-point conversion.
Olandis Gary becomes the lead back for quarterback Quincy Carter. Boy, it looked like he pushed that pile, but the officials said he didn't, and George O'Leary knew right away, I guess, that he knew before the officials did that it was no good, Greg.
Des White, Sean Gregory back to receive the kick. Gregory breaks a tackle at the 25 down to the 26-yard line. Let's go to New York City and Tim Brando. An update on Virginia Tech. Tim.
Down 29-7 in intermission, fellas. Virginia has cut into Virginia Tech's lead. Aaron Brooks on the quick post to Kevin Coffey, making it 29-14. Guys, Virginia's season turned when Georgia Tech came from behind to beat them. We'll see if the Yellow Jackets can come from behind today.
No question about that, Mr. Brando. Georgia Tech, the biggest comeback in school history against Virginia. They came back from 21 points down.
Scored the final 24 points to take that game. Biggest comeback in school history. Big hole. Joe Burns, quiet in this game, but a big 9-yard gain to the 35. You talk about big games. Stay tuned right here on CBS. Donovan McNabb plays his final game at the Carrier Dome as the Syracuse Orangemen take on the high-powered and surprising Miami Hurricane offense. It's a battle for the Big East title. Stay tuned right here on CBS. That's coming up next after Georgia Tech, Georgia.
Seen Alandis Gary first onto the scene here for Georgia late this season. Edgerrin James from Miami has been spectacular the last half of the season.
Not much for Burns this time. Going for the first down. It was short yardage situation. And it's going to be a first down Tech. Grant made the stop.
You know, Craig, going back to that Miami-Syracuse game, Edgerrin James had to sit out last year against Syracuse because of an irregular heartbeat. I believe he'll be the difference today. And if Miami has a chance to win, it's because Edgerrin James runs hard in that noisy dome.
First and 10, little hop and skip past the 40-yard line. Good run. Burns bangs his way for big yards to the 46. Bailey and Mann made the stop.
Joe Burns had to take over with the loss of Charles Wiley. The only thing he did when he came out was become ACC Rookie of the Week against Maryland. He rushed for 179 yards and 1 touchdown. He's really done a good job. Remember, he's just a true freshman out of Thomasville, Georgia. Very explosive. Scored the winning touchdown against Clemson a few weeks ago.
From the eye, first down from the 49-yard line. Little misdirection, and Georgia didn't bite. Rogers takes a 2-yard loss back to the 46, and Grant was there, the Will linebacker, to make the stop.
You know, the one thing about misdirection is it takes a while. Grant's lined up right there for us, gets upfield. It takes a while to get going, and on the backside, if you don't leave somebody home to block the outside linebacker, he can chase it down from behind. The one thing Grant's got to be careful about, though, with Joe Hamilton at quarterback, if Hamilton keeps it, sneaks around the backside for a quarterback keeper.
This guy had a huge game a few weeks ago against Ole Miss. 16 stops in that football game. Hamilton throws, fires, and hooks up. That's Russell Matvey, the backup tight end. And Dustin Lucky made the tackle.
You know, with a minute left here in the third quarter, this is really the first time Georgia Tech has had a chance on offense to get something going. Joe Hamilton settled himself down. Russell Matvey just found a little seam in the zone, settled down. This is the type of drive that George O'Leary's offense, they needed this, but because of the dominance of the running game of Georgia with Alandis Gary here so far in the third quarter, they haven't been able to do this.
And they're getting big yards. It's a 9-yard pick, 12 and 13. Fourth first down of this drive from the 40-yard line. Little jump up front, no flag. Low snap. And Hamilton carries down to the 36-yard line. Leroy, the nose guard, made the tackle for Georgia.
And there again, both these teams have showed several times today that they are not afraid to run their quarterback. That time, Joe Hamilton follows the lead block with Joe Burns lined up in the shotgun. You know, Craig, that's one of the most difficult things for a center to do. Craig Page, the senior center for Georgia Tech, to get down, make a perfect snap, and also come off the ball.
Second down, 6, 36-yard line of Georgia from the eye. Burns. No. Took a hard shot. Josh Millard. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score. Georgia 19, Tech 7. We'll return to Sanford Stadium right after this message and a word from your local station. Well, crunch time in Athens. 19-7 Georgia as Jim Donnan paces that sideline. Craig Bolerjack back along with Ed Cunningham. Georgia Tech with their best offensive series of this second half, and they throw to the flat and the slant, and it's caught by Charlie Rogers, and Glenn Ford made the tackle.
Quick slant route to Charlie Rogers. If you're a defensive lineman and it's a quick drop, get those hands up real quick. Marcus Stroud, boy, that's as close as you get. Of course, Joe Hamilton, they list him at 5'10". George O'Leary said, nah, he's more like 5'9", but seems to always find a seam. That time got a little lucky, and we got a 4th and inches now. They didn't quite get the spot that time, Craig.
3rd down short from the eye. Hamilton under center. Option, pitch, 1st down and more. Philip Rogers bumped out of bounds at the 22-yard line by Kirby Smart, the strong safety.
Georgia had everybody packed inside on that 4th and inches, expecting the dive play, but Hamilton brings it out. Harris makes him pitch it, but there is nobody there once again. Kirby Smart comes up late from his safety spot, but once again, Philip Rogers has a free run once he catches that pitch from Joe Hamilton. Hamilton has run that option very well today.
1st and 10 from the 22 of Georgia. 10th play of this drive coming up. 2 wide receivers set from the eye. Rogers again carries a load of red jerseys down inside the 20 to the 19.
This is really the first sustained drive that Georgia Tech has had all day, and that's just what the doctor ordered. I mean, they kind of went back and forth. That 3rd quarter was all Georgia with the running game of Gary, but they really needed this drive.
It has been a game where both teams have gone between the 20s quite a bit, but for Georgia Tech, they'll look at this game just depending on the outcome with 3 turnovers so far.
And it missed opportunities, really, because George O'Leary went at halftime, so we got to quit making mistakes on offense when we've had opportunities. Here's another one.
A play action, Hamilton underneath. Throws to Guba, the 3rd string tight end, down inside the 10 to the 9.
Well, Georgia has used the tight end a lot, and Georgia Tech decides, hey, why don't we? It's worked for the Bulldogs. Maybe it'll work for us. The play action pass. Guba lined up on the right, goes down, fakes the block, spins out. Hollingshed, the middle linebacker, had to run with the deeper crossing route of the other tight end, Andrzejewski, and that's why Guba was wide open. A good play by Georgia Tech.
Just inside the 10-yard line, a big burst up the middle. Touchdown Tech. And it was Burns.
And there's George O'Leary. He's going to go for 2. Try to cut into that Georgia lead a little bit, but Joe Burns, the true freshman, not a big guy like Galandis Gary, just a shade under 200 pounds, but gets a good head of steam. Excellent blocking up front. He got into the secondary without having to make a move. When you get that kind of head of steam, it's very difficult for any safeties to come over and make an arm tackle.
Tech will try for 2. Trailing now 19-13, and scoring, Ed, so early here in the 4th quarter just changed the whole temperament of this football game.
Well, and Georgia has had a very tough time this year in 4th quarters. Georgia has only scored 17 points all year. They've been outscored 33-17 in the 4th quarter. In the last 8 games, they've only scored 7 points. So this bodes very well for Georgia Tech.
Hamilton under center. Tech going for 2. Hamilton wants to throw. Out of the pocket. Pressure. Got in. 2 points Tech. 19-15 Georgia. Buckle up, home stretch. 13 minutes to go in Athens. We'll be back.
NASDAQ Amex College Football on CBS is sponsored by the NASDAQ Amex Market Group, Oldsmobile, Sun America, and by Honda Cycles.
It's Georgia and Georgia Tech, 86,000 strong, sea of red, but there is plenty of yellow jacket yellow in the stands. 19-15 Georgia.
And George O'Leary went for 2 because now they're down 4. If they score a touchdown and extra point, they go up 3, which is a field goal. Very good move by George O'Leary.
Champ Bailey and Patrick Pass set to receive the Rodney Williams kick, and Williams puts this one on the ground. Takes a little hop up to Champ Bailey. Bailey stopped at the 21. And let's go downstairs, check in with Mike Harris. Mike.
Craig, you know, in 1904, Georgia Tech hired John Heisman as their football coach. He became the first full-time paid coach. He was paid $2,250, got 30% of the gate. With George O'Leary ready to negotiate a long-term deal with Georgia Tech, you think he'd like 30% of the gate?
Well, you know, we talked to O'Leary yesterday. He said, I told my lawyers who are dealing with this. We got the official.
We have a dead ball personal foul against the kicking team. We have a dead ball personal foul against the receiving team. Penalty goes for that. First down.
Hey, give Ron Cherry credit. He has really kept this game under control today.
That's the equivalent of a referee sending you to your room, the offsetting penalty. But O'Leary told his lawyers that are dealing with the new contract, he said, you know what, guys, I don't want to worry about it. I'll give you a call first thing Sunday and see what we've got. But the rumor is that George O'Leary is going to get a 10-year contract, almost unheard of in football. But there was a fight after that play, which were the offsetting penalties.
You know, and he did say that Auburn had shown interest. He'd actually interviewed once. There was an opportunity for a second interview. It looks like that job is going to go to Tommy Tuberville. Up top, through the hands of the tight end, Larry Brown. Let's get an update on Virginia Tech. Tim Brando in New York. Tim.
Craig and Ed, Virginia Tech's brought back 4 touchdowns off interceptions this year, so this time they get a little dose of their own medicine. Hal Clark picked off by Byron Threet, 54 yards. 14-0 to score in the second half as Virginia gets back in it, down by only 8.
I want to hear Coach Holtz say Byron Thweet.
Oh, Coach Holtz. Good one here in Athens. 19-15 Georgia. Quincy Carter, shotgun, throws the slant, and it was sniffed out easily by that Tech defense. Tony Small, who's been a big offensive weapon for the Bulldogs in this football game, lost a few back to the 19-yard line.
Well, if you want to watch defenses that are coached up, turn on Georgia Tech. Randy Edsall, the defensive coordinator for Georgia Tech, has done a great job today, as well as his counterpart, Joe Kynes of Georgia. But that time, Nate Stimson, the defensive lineman, as a defensive lineman, it's so hard. You're getting upfield. As soon as you sniff that they might be throwing one of those underneath screens, you got to come off and chase. That time, Stimson did a great job.
Larry Brown, the tight end, lines up to the far side. 5 receivers. And with 5 receivers, Champ Bailey kind of just flies out of nowhere. They knock him down. Cameron, the linebacker, at the 30-yard line, still brings up 3rd down and short. Make it 3rd down 1.
A lot of people are a little afraid of the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nobody in the backfield. 5 guys up front blocking. When nobody blitzes, it leaves somebody home to block. Great protection. And Champ Bailey had a little mismatch that time, lined up with Delonte Cameron, the outside backer, one-on-one against Bailey.
Short of the 1st down, so Kopp will have to punt away. 6 punts, his average just under 36 yards a kick.
And the struggles for Georgia in the 4th quarter continue. Remember, only 7 points in the last 8 games for the Bulldogs in the 4th quarter.
Charlie Rogers underneath it at the 37. A 5-yard return up to the 42. Jermaine Phillips made the tackle. 19-15 Georgia. '91st meeting between Georgia and Georgia Tech. Another classic in the making. Georgia leads by 4. They've had some struggles, Eddie, as you mentioned, in the 4th quarter. Tech back on offense, down 19-15. Yellow Jackets from the eye. Hamilton, handoff, Burns picks up maybe 1, and a tough one up to the 44-yard line. Kirby Smart, the strong safety, in on that stop. He's the dad of his high school coach, Sonny Smart. Studies a lot of tape. He's also today's NASDAQ Amex Scholar Athlete. Strong safety for Georgia. How about a 3.57 GPA in finance? NASDAQ Amex commitment to the investment of our future is shown today by donating $1,000 to the University of Georgia General Scholarship Fund. And Burns is knocked back by Cochran. Cochran doing a little dance down there, number 38.
Well, we have seen some defensive end play. Joe Burns slow to get up. Got twisted around a little bit. Marlos Leroy, the nose guard, got down around those ankles and kind of spun around. And Georgia Tech, they've gotten a lot of productivity out of this true freshman, but let's not forget Charlie Rogers, number 3 for Georgia Tech. Very explosive at that tailback spot, too.
You lose at Joe Burns. You've already lost to Charles Wiley, the senior with that right ACL back against North Carolina State. And again, we mentioned they have basically run the football this year by committee. Wilder's had some carries, Philip Rogers, and then Charlie Rogers, as you mentioned, coming from flanker to play slot and tailback.
When they're pressing on that ankle, there's no question what happened to Joe Burns. They run a little counter play. Number 37, Philip Rogers, filling up in the middle there. Guys down around the ankles. Right at the very end, it looked like he got spun over, and Marlos Leroy kind of landed on his ankle there. It's dangerous when you get in those piles. You know, you want to fight for extra yards, but sometimes you just have to go down.
Well, next Saturday, NASDAQ Amex College Football features one of the most illustrious rivalries in all of sports, with the cadets and the middies clash in the Army-Navy game. Make sure you join CBS Sports for all the excitement of this uniquely American spectacle. It's Army-Navy, noon next Saturday.
You know, I had the honor last year of doing the sideline. Burns kind of a little gimpy coming off, but I had the honor of doing a sideline reporting for that game last year. And if you've never been to an Army-Navy, you owe it to yourself to go check that out someday.
Crowd erupting. 3rd down 9. 3 wideouts to the far side for Georgia Tech. Tech 5 of 11 today on 3rd downs, and this one's going to be short. Glenn Ford riding down Des White.
A very quiet Des White today. Champ Bailey's been drawing one-on-one against Des White. He's done a nice job of shutting down Mr. White. Very explosive, but that's been one of the keys for Georgia on defense, is to get in Des White's face and shut him down. He only has 2 receptions for 12 yards. And this is a guy, Craig, that's averaged almost 23 yards per catch.
Greer awaits the rocket. Takes the bounce at the 2 and no return. Absolutely incredible strength off the foot of Williams. 51-yard boot. Georgia Tech trails by 4. Tech has not beaten Georgia in the last 7, and this is the scene a year ago as Georgia rallied to win.
And this Sunday, getting ready for this game, they watched this film of Georgia dancing on their Georgia Tech. We asked O'Leary if they would do it if they beat Georgia, go out and dance on the G. He said, no way, I wouldn't let my guys do that.
Pitch play to Gary. And that ball is, that play snuffed down and stopped at the 24, Delonte Cameron.
When we talked about George O'Leary working on a long-term contract with Georgia Tech, he knows he's going to have to play these Bulldogs a lot. So if they do win, he doesn't want to give them film for a year from now Sunday, letting Jim Donnan show his guys, hey, look, they danced on our G. So he doesn't want to give any ammunition to Jim Donnan for next year if they do win.
Under 9 minutes, 2nd down 6. Double tight set with Brown and Wiggins. Understand Burns, Eddie, with a bruised ankle, but will return. 2nd down 6. Ronnie Bradley, the ball carrier, maybe a yard up to the 25. Nate Stimson made the tackle. Stimson's had a great year. Number 56 with 6.5 sacks and 45 tackles.
Talked about Stimson earlier. He transferred from the University of Miami. He was a linebacker there. They turned him into a defensive lineman. Not big for a defensive lineman, but very active. He's been in the Bulldog backfield all day, and a huge 3rd down right here for the Georgia Tech defense. If they want to be stomping on that G at the end of the game, they're going to need a stop.
How big is this? Georgia 2 for 10 in 3rd down conversions. Going up top. Small. Incomplete. Bostic, who's been very active on the corner today, on the coverage of Small, and that brings up a 4th down for Georgia.
Quincy Carty grabbing his wrist, getting in the face of the official. Underthrew that ball. Small had him open. Gets slammed to the turf by Felipe Claybrooks. It was close. You know, the official might have called that a late hit, but it's very close. Claybrooks got there at the end of the play. I think what Carter was upset about, though, is that he got thrown to the turf. Hope that right hand is okay, though, because he definitely landed on it.
Cobb back at his own 10-yard line. The left footer gets it up. Short kick. Rogers watches it bounce. It gets a bulldog roll inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. Well, tonight on CBS is the Country Music Association's 40th anniversary celebration. Superstars and all-time legends join together for some duets you just won't see anywhere else. Don't miss the CMA 40th anniversary tonight on CBS.
You know, if you take out the third quarter for this Georgia Tech defense, they have played very, very well. That third quarter was taken over by the running game by the Bulldogs, but the Yellow Jackets on defense have really turned it up here in the fourth.
Hamilton underneath, short stuff, and a 7-8 yard pickup. Wilder made the catch, and Lucky and Hollingshed brought him down.
Wilder, a big fella at 6'2", 255. Very effective out of the backfield. That's his 11th reception on the year. He has 2 touchdowns receiving. Very versatile player for the Yellow Jackets. And Adrian Hollingshed, he's had a busy day, hadn't he, Craig?
Wilder and Rogers in the backfield for Tech. Second down short. Hamilton, option pitch. Charlie Rogers brings the tackle, 40, 45, 50, and inside Bulldog territory at the 46. Boy, explosive run by Charlie Rogers.
Joe Kynes, the first thing he said to us, the defensive coordinator from Georgia, when we talked to him on Wednesday, the very first thing he said was, I am afraid of the option of Georgia Tech. This is the first true option team that the Bulldogs have faced all year. Georgia Tech in a little hurry-up offense. There's a look at Joe Kynes on the right there. But that's what scared him, and they have not stopped that pitch play all day.
Rogers has been chewing up the yards. 7 carries, 89 yards. First and 10, Tech from the 47 again. Big hole. Here comes Rogers. Past the 35 to the 32 of Georgia.
Now Georgia Tech's offense is starting to play very well here in the fourth quarter. The offensive line, good job up front. Hollingshed makes a mistake. When you are the middle linebacker, Adrian Hollingshed, you've got to take the block on square. The minute you leave your feet, it allows a guy like Philip Rogers to run right by you, and that's just what he did.
Tech has a drive underway. First and 10. Rogers again off the right side, lowers his shoulders, and Leroy made the hit. Marlos Leroy, the 297-pound nose guard for Georgia.
Lined up right at the point of attack, gets up the field. There's no way that that guard, number 70, Brett Key, could get his head in front of him. That big fella, Leroy, just got up the field. He's got that big cast on the left hand, but good penetration by Leroy.
Second down and 9, a 1-yard gain. Remember, Burns out right now with an ankle sprain. Pitch play. Rogers, boy, he handled a tough pitch. That's actually going to be Charlie Rogers.
Boy, I got to tell you, if you're going to run the option, don't run it to Champ Bailey's side. He is just too quick. The way they've been running the option to the other side where Bailey's not lined up. They've had the pitch play right there, but Champ Bailey has done a great job of beating the downfield block of the receiver on him, getting upfield and slowing that play down. If I'm Joe Hamilton, I'm going to find Champ Bailey. Whatever side he's on, I'm going to run the option the other way.
Now George O'Leary comes with some beef. He's got Rogers at 220, Wilder at 255 in the backfield. Shotgun, Hamilton throws, deep ball down the sideline. A little bump, no flag, incomplete. And the intended receiver was Sheridan in the end zone, and Jeff Harris was hanging on him like a blanket, so that brings up 4th down, 9 for Georgia Tech. 5:06 remaining.
A linebacker's dream. Aranis Grant comes inside the defensive end on the blitz, untouched. Gets a shot right up under the chin of Hamilton. Hamilton still able, oh boy, Craig, number 13, Jeff Harris. He got away. He definitely changed the path of Mike Sheridan there with that left arm.
Brad Chambers, his longest 47. This will be a 49-yard kick. Line drive. Good. From 49.
And with 5:01 left in the fourth quarter, the score, Georgia 19, Georgia Tech 18.
49-yard field goal, Georgia. Their lead's been trimmed down to 1. 5:01 remaining in Athens, Georgia. 91st battle between Georgia and Georgia Tech.
Did you expect anything less? The last 4 meetings decided by 13 points. Last year, Mike Bobo had to find Corey Allen with 4 seconds left to win it up at Georgia Tech. This has become quite a rivalry. It's been so long. They've played together against each other so many times, but recent history has been just fantastic football.
You look at the timeouts remaining. Georgia with 2. Georgia Tech also with 2 timeouts left. And I'm sure they're going to play a factor down the stretch in this football game. Williams has it teed up. Good, strong kick. This one may go into the 8 yards deep. No chance for pass or Bailey. Now tomorrow, NFL regional action. Jacksonville, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and Baltimore. The late games, Buffalo and New England, Tennessee, and Seattle. And don't forget also on Sunday, the Cook's Champ Champagne, a toast on ice. Make sure you check your local listings. That's tomorrow here on CBS.
Now, if you're Georgia, you need a score. You're up 1, but you need to get down there. You need to eat some clock. Olandis Gary's been running so well here in the second half. I would pound him and pound him and pound him again.
Ed, you've talked about the troubles Georgia's had in the fourth quarter. So far, no first downs here in the fourth in Athens. Late flag thrown in on the pile, and Georgia Tech's defense not bending.
Well, if you're Georgia, that's not what you need. You know, this field position becomes very important, too. If you're not able to get down and score, you at least want to get near midfield, pin them deep. But these type of penalties, they will kill your field position late in the game.
Holding on the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay first down.
Time to check out our CBS Sports Line stat of the game and its total yards. Eddie, Georgia Tech 359. Georgia has rolled up 374. And for complete college football coverage, go to cbs.sportsline.com.
Well, those yards would tell you probably have a pretty close ball game, don't you think?
Yeah. What, 15 yards separate the two? First and 20, Georgia. They lead by 1. Under 5 minutes left. Ball batted up, and Champ Bailey. Bostic on coverage.
Quincy Carter takes the snap, stops by the Coke machine, picks up a soda. Then he goes to the sandwich machine. Have me a bologna on rye. Then I'll find a Champ Bailey over in the corner, and Bailey gets lucky here. Bostic didn't get that thing tucked away. Bostic's left hand knocks it. It actually rolls backward, takes another yard off that reception by Champ Bailey.
Well, they pick up 10. Basically, it was a 13-yard gain. You're right. It went back from the 23 and rolled out at the 20. So second down 10. 4:20 remaining. 19-18 Georgia. Tech showing blitz. 8 men in the box. Pressure coming. Incomplete. That will bring up a third down.
Once again, there's our guy, Felipe Claybrooks, number 97. Chasing Quincy Carter out of the pocket. He's just had himself a whale of a ball game. A sophomore out of Decatur, Georgia, just down the road a ways.
Robert Arnaud has checked into that Georgia backfield, number 30. 3 wideouts, Small, Greer, and Bailey. Shotgun, third down 10. Carter over the middle, incomplete. Off the fingertips of Tony Small. And that brings up 4th down for Georgia.
Okay, I'm just going to say number 97. I've given Felipe Claybrooks all kinds of pub today, but he deserves it. He once again comes right up the middle on a stunt. Number 63, Reggie Stargell, can't get in his way fast enough, and Carter has no chance of completing a ball with Claybrooks right in his face. What a fantastic game. Once again, we keep saying his name by Felipe Claybrooks.
Kopp needs to have a big kick.
And that is not his forte, Craig. He's averaging just over 35 yards. He's more of a position punt.
Gets a good kick away, however. Good hang time. Charlie Rogers at the 35. Driven back to the 26. Special teams take a bow. Will Weatherspoon. A 44-yard kick and -10 on the return.
The one thing Win Kopp has done all year is hang the ball high. He's only averaged 36 yards per punt, but his net is 35.5 yards. That tells you he hangs it really high. That time, he got everything into it. Charlie Rogers, no chance. Great coverage downfield, but it was all set up by the true freshman Win Kopp from right here in Athens. He stood up and made a great kick.
3:57 remaining here in Athens. Georgia by 1. Tech has not beaten the Bulldogs in the last 7 tries. Hamilton, oh, great play fake. Directing traffic, 30, and then steps out at the 35. Tough way to gain 5, but he'll take it. Stops the clock with 3:50 remaining. Champ Bailey chased him out.
And I love the call by Ralph Friedgen, the offensive coordinator, knowing that Georgia is going to be amped up, coming after the quarterback. He runs a little play fake. Backside defensive end, Antonio Cochran chases from behind. Little rollout by Hamilton to pick up 5.
They credit Hamilton with the 6-yard gain. Second down 4 from their own 36-yard line. Philip Rogers. First down and more. Gang tackling by the Bulldogs to the 48. Boy, Rogers has provided some power and a punch here in the second half.
Yeah, a little more physical guy at 220 pounds. The freshman, Joe Burns, under 200 pounds. So they're running him, plus tie it away a little bit. The junior's going to hang on to that ball, but very interesting. Philip Rogers averaging 6 yards a carry today. That George O'Leary of Georgia Tech deciding to run the ball. He wants to eat some of this clock away, Craig.
Wilder and Rogers in the backfield. Clock running, coming up on the 3-minute mark. Around the corner goes Rogers. And Ed, here you go now. You say, well, you got to have maybe a 1 or 2, 3-yard gain at the most on first, but Tech comes away and rips off a quick 6 to make it second down 4.
Yeah, and Ralph Friedgen, you know, they've had success running the option today, but they have not had success lining up in the I formation and straight running the football. He came out, they're running the I, they're running little simple sweep plays, and they've gotten outside and got big yardage on first down.
2 wide receivers set. Hamilton goes the other way. First down. Slices his way past the 35 to the 31. Fumble. And it's going to remain Georgia Tech football. Richard Seymour was in on the stop.
Once again, Joe Hamilton running the quarterback keeper. Has the fake handoff to Rogers, who stays and blocks Grant. Nobody home on the backside. Gets by Smart. There's that elusiveness. Oh, he fumbled, Craig. He fumbled that football, and the official said he was down. There is no question about it that Joe Hamilton, and man, the free safety for Georgia recovers it. The officials kind of gathered around to discuss it, but there's no question they missed that call, Craig.
Very important miss. We'll be back. 2:22 remaining between Georgia and Georgia Tech. And comeback kids, look at this. Georgia Tech, West Virginia, they won, trailed by 21. And then Clemson, they got the touchdown run with a minute on the clock.
George O'Leary said that is the best thing his team has done. They've matured from last year. They're better on the road, and they're better coming back.
Wishbone and Georgia able to just bust through. Charlie Rogers did not gain an inch. Josh Millard, the redshirt freshman.
Josh Millard had to be held out of two-a-day practices. They would not let him go against the first-team offense. He had too much energy. He made too many plays. Not a big guy at 240 pounds, but Joe Kynes told us he has the ability to slip blocks and get upfield. In a backup role, he leads the team with 6 sacks this year, Craig.
A loss of 4. Second down, 14 from the 35. Hamilton, 5-step drop. Now tucks and runs. Slips a tackle and is taken down. Forward progress at the 32. Kirby Smart, the strong safety. There he is, number 16, getting up slow. Made the tackle.
If you're Georgia Tech, you really like about 5 or 6 more yards. Your kicker is Brad Chambers. He just kicked a career-long 49-yarder a few minutes ago, but you'd like a few more yards. Right now, it would be another 49-yarder for Brad Chambers.
Third down, 11. Clock running. 110, 109, 108. Hamilton working that play clock down. And now a timeout. Georgia Tech uses the timeout with 1 minute remaining. 19-18 Georgia. Craig Bowler, Jack Ed Cunningham, Mike Harris back in Athens, Georgia. And Tech, Eddie, had 3 goals to start the season. Win a share of the ACC, they did that. Get a New Year's Day bowl game, they did that. Beat Georgia, they're trying to do that with a minute left.
On the doorstep, but I think you need a few more yards before you try that field goal.
Charlie Rogers in motion. Third down, 11. Into the flat. Rogers dances inside the 20. And at the 19-yard line, first down, Tech. Jeff Harris made the tackle.
And how big has Charlie Rogers been? The all-purpose guy for Georgia Tech. Returns punts, returns kicks. What a great job Charlie Rogers has done today for George O'Leary, and to his immediate right there, Ralph Regent, the offensive coordinator. They moved him to flanker Charlie Rogers so they could keep him healthy. Towards the end of the season, he's been very healthy, and he's huge today against the Bulldogs.
Tech looking for their first win in 7 long years against Georgia. Under 30 seconds remain. No timeouts for Georgia Tech. Rogers falls past the 20 up to the 18-yard line. Lucky made the stop.
If you're Georgia, you have got to get a timeout. If you want this ball back with any time left, Jim Donnan's got to get a timeout, and he's not going to do it.
12 seconds, 10. What Hamilton needs to do is just step up and spike it. And that's what he does. Stops the clock with 5 seconds. And that will put the pressure on Chambers.
Jim Donnan had 2 timeouts left, and he just left them on the field. With 5 seconds left, they kick it. They may receive a kick, but he should have called timeout to save himself at least 1 or 2 shots into the end zone for his offense.
Chambers in to try the field goal.
He is used to kicking game winners. Last year in 1997, he kicked a game winner against Clemson with 1:54 left. Georgia last year ripped the heart out of Georgia Tech when Mike Bobo found Corey Allen in the corner of the end zone as time expired to win the ball game. And this time it will be Georgia Tech who gets a shot in the last second to win it.
Georgia Tech already secured with that Gator Bowl bid on January 1st. As you look on that Georgia sideline, the dejection shown. Chambers with that 49-yard kick, as you mentioned, Eddie, a career high. He's out off the 25-yard line.
He has had 1 kick blocked this year. Georgia will line up everybody on the right side of that offensive line and try to get like a Champ Bailey or a man jumping up high to knock it down.
And now Donnan uses one of those timeouts to put the freeze on Brad Chambers. Today, we mentioned, good from 49, missed and hit the upright from 37. And the timeouts have all been used up. 5 seconds left on the clock here in Athens. Georgia Tech trying to go 9-2 on the year. And stay tuned. Big East title on the line. Scott Covington, the quarterback of Miami, against Donovan McNabb and the Syracuse Orangemen up at the Carrier Dome. You'll see that coming up right after the conclusion here in Athens.
University of Georgia, their fourth quarter possessions, 3 plays and out, 3 plays and out, 3 plays and out. They've been outscored 33-17 in fourth quarters in this so far in coming into this game, and it's been no different today for Georgia. No production on offense.
Here we go. Chambers will kick from the 25. This will be a 35-yard attempt for the win. Good snap, good hold, kick is up. Good. Five-yard kick from Brad Chambers, and Georgia Tech with 2 ticks on the clock, lead 29-19.
Chambers now 2 for 3 on the day. The first one hit the iron, the second one from 49 barely got over, but this one right when it left his foot, watch the fans. They knew it the whole way. Brad Chambers won a game for Georgia Tech last year against Clemson, so he knows this feeling, Craig. Knew right away when he kicked it, it was right through the middle. And George O'Leary might want to call his lawyers and say, hey, wait a minute, let's not let the ink dry on that new contract.
On the other side, Eddie, is Donnan. His reaction. Looking at the clock, and he has 2 seconds remain. You bring up a great point about the 2 timeouts. Yeah, sure, you froze Brad Chambers, but yet you have basically you have to run this back.
If they would have called timeout, Georgia would have had between 10 and 15 seconds left. They get the kick. They would have had 2 chances, one to get it down the field a little further and a second to throw it into the end zone and see what happens. But they saved those 2 timeouts. Now they got 2 seconds, and you're right, Craig. A miracle has to happen for Georgia to win this game now.
So Rodney Williams will kick to Champ Bailey and Patrick Pass. But don't forget, Champ Bailey has that ability to break one.
I have a feeling the strong-legged Mr. Williams, he may make another field goal here. He's going to try to knock the leather off this thing through the end zone. You don't want that man returning the ball.
Final 2 seconds. 21-19 Georgia Tech, a long 7-year drought. Actually, he boots this one on the grass. It's touched, it's picked up, and the horn sounds, and Tech wins in Athens. Georgia Tech 21, Georgia 19. There was question about the emotion of this game. Win the ACC. They get the bowl game, and now they have beaten Georgia. Let's go downstairs. Mike Harris with George O'Leary.
Coach, 7 years of bad luck finally over. You beat them. How's it feel?
Well, I tell you, the team stayed with it the second half and came up fourth quarter big, and great field goal and a great football game today for both teams.
How's it feel for your seniors? I'm sure you feel good for them.
I really do. They've gone through this, and this game was for our seniors, and you know we've reached all our goals this season, so I'm happy for the seniors and a great in-state rival game.
All right. Thanks very much, Coach. Congratulations. Craig, back up to you.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Congratulations to George O'Leary. Brad Chambers, the hero in this 91st meeting between Tech and Georgia from 35 yards out. Hooks it up and in.
And how about a senior, Brad Chambers, never beat Georgia in his career. All the other seniors riding on his shoulders, and Mr. Chambers sends it home for all of them.
And George O'Leary breathing a sigh of relief. So for Ed Cunningham and Mike Harris, this is Craig Bolerjack as we say so long from Sanford Stadium with a final score in a thriller. Georgia